Hi, welcome to the webinar. My name is Melanie and I'm with Amplify. By the end of this webinar, you will be able to identify the basic early literacy skills a student needs to become a proficient reader. You will also be able to compare your school or district's assessment to those basic early literacy skills. Let's begin. You are looking at Phoenician. It is one of the oldest verified languages in history. It was widely used for its phonetic nature. We made a similar language called Phoenician. It is using symbols and reading right to left like the original Phoenician. Let's read a sentence together. I'll do the first word. The first word is kit. You try the rest. Remember, it's right to left. The correct answer is Kit ran and hid. Now, let's take a moment and think about the skills that you needed to understand this phrase. First, you needed to be able to match each symbol with the correct sound. Then you had to understand the direction that the symbols needed to be read. You had to read the words and sentences quickly enough to figure out what the symbols sounded like together, and then understand the meaning of key words like hid and what the sentence was trying to convey. This exercise shows that reading is complex, and it takes several critical skills for a student to become proficient. In 2000, the National Reading Panel reported that there are 5 essential skills for a student to master to become a proficient reader. They are phonemic awareness, the alphabetic principle and phonics, accurate and fluent reading of connected text, reading comprehension, and fluency. All these skills are highly predictive of reading acquisition and later reading achievement. They are also something that we can teach, and they change the outcomes for our students. The first critical piece is phonemic awareness. It is the ability to hear, identify, and manipulate individual sounds or phonemes in spoken words. The understanding that spoken words are made up of sounds. Students who are working on phonemic awareness need to be able to identify and match initial, final, and middle sounds. They also need to be able to segment and produce those initial, final, and middle sounds. They need to be able to blend phonemes into words. They need to segment words in phonemes, and they need to be able to manipulate phonemes in words. The next critical piece is phonics. Phonics is the ability to map sounds onto letters and blend those sounds into words. Unlike phonemic awareness, phonics requires print. It is also an umbrella term for 4 skills: alphabetic principle, basic phonics, advanced phonics, and word attack skills. The alphabetic principle is the understanding that printed letters correspond to sounds. Basic phonics is knowing the most common sounds of consonants and vowels and sounding out simple phonetically regular vowel consonant and consonant vowel consonant words. Advanced phonics includes the skills such as reading combinations of letters like digraphs or blends, understanding the way the position of letter or letters in a syllable or word affects the sound, and the knowledge of prefixes and suffixes. Finally, phonics also includes word attack skills. This is an approach to pronouncing and knowing the meaning of a word through the application of phonics, the use of context, and the knowledge of morphology. Let's take a look at the sentence. The letters OU can make a wide range of sounds, whether they are at the beginning, middle, or end of a word. Strong phonics skills would allow you to recognize and read all the words with OU in them correctly. Third, accurate and fluent reading connected text is the ability to read a text accurately with automaticity and expression. A fluent reader sounds conversational with appropriate phrasing. That same sentence would sound like this: "The drought has been rough on my cough, though I ought to get through it." Moving on, once you have these foundational skills in place, the skill of reading comprehension is the ability to make meaning of text. You can ask questions to test your students' demonstration of their understanding of text. There are 3 distinct types of questions: factual questions that come explicitly from what's written in the text, inferential questions that require students to pull from their own schema or understanding and what's happening in the text and read between the lines. Finally, critical thinking skills are questions that have students read between the lines on larger pieces of text, such as a chapter or an entire book or passage. Lastly, vocabulary and language skills are the ability to understand and use words to acquire and convey meaning. Let's look at this passage as a sample. It is about Winter Olympic sport of curling. Even if you could decode the entire passage, you would need to know background knowledge and vocabulary to be able to understand this passage fully. This graphic shows the sequence of the basic early literacy skills involved in learning to read. Each step along the way is critical and equally important to successful reading. Vocabulary acquisition is present throughout the entire sequence. Shifting a little bit, let's look at assessment. We all know that teaching these skills are very important, but it is equally important to measure these skills as students become more proficient readers. When we select a strong assessment that measures the basic early literacy skills, we ensure that we identify students who may be at risk for reading difficulties. We also help teachers identify areas to target for instructional support. We monitor progress of students and analyze the effectiveness of instructional support. One assessment like this is DIBELS, which stands for the Dynamic Indicators of Basic Early Literacy Skills. DIBELS was researched by Dr. Good and Dr. Kaminsky within the University of Oregon for the past 30 years. They have kept it up to date, including a recent release in 2010. DIBELS is a measurement tool designed to provide data that documents the growth of students as they acquire literacy skills. Take a look at some of the assessments measured on the dots. Ask yourself, does your school or district's current assessment assess all of the basic early literacy skills and monitor the progress in these skills throughout the year? If not, what gaps exist in your current assessment and what are your next steps? Thank you so much for watching this webinar. I hope you have a great day. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out on any of the platforms provided on the screen. Thank you.